Hi, my name is Mandy Johnson and I have chosen objective number 2 for my video presentation. Objective number 2, I will be able to develop differentiated lessons and instructional plans for students with special needs in an inclusive classroom setting. I chose this objective because I think as a teacher it is very important to not only be prepared in your planning but also be knowledgeable in your field. I say this because as a teacher in the special education field, you have to be willing to be flexible. Every student learns differently. What might work for one student might not work for all students. And from my own personal experience, what might work for one student today might not work for that same student tomorrow. That being said, you have to be flexible. The student might come in and be having a really bad day or really emotional. So we as teachers have to realize our lesson plans can't be set in stone. We have to be able to adjust those plans to meet the needs of each individual student in our classroom. Along with being flexible, we also have to keep in mind that each student learns at a different level in our class. So that is why it's important to have that skill to be able to develop differentiated lessons. And lastly, we have to be willing to collaborate and work with others. And through all of that, we can make all this possible. For example, when it comes time to develop my lesson plans for my students with special needs in my classroom, I will definitely keep in mind the importance of universal design. The whole idea behind it is the 3 principles, which are multiple means of content, multiple means of expression, and multiple means of engagement. So, for example, let's say I'm working on my English lesson for the week. I have picked the book Stone Soup to go over with my students. After assessing my students' levels, I now know how to proceed. So I have one student with a high learning disability and likes to work alone, so I have paired him up to read one-on-one with a paraprofessional. Along with that, I have created some outlines of each individual chapters to aid him in remembering the chapters as he goes along. I also have an additional 4 students on IEPs with learning disabilities that I have decided to pair up into PAL-type reading groups. They will go off into 2 groups of 2 where they will read together, and hopefully through this peer reading, I will be able to create growth in their reading skills. After everyone has finished with the book, I will use the strategy Think, Pair, Share. I will ask them a question. Each student will think about what they have read and recall it, and then they will pair back up. They will share their answers with each other and then compare them. This gets them engaged in talking about the story. And then I'll get them even more engaged with activities such as story sequencing and word walls, where they can each work on these at their own pace at their desk. And then we're going to take it a step farther and do AR testing. The 4 students that were in the PAL groups, I will let them do their AR testing individually on their own. And then the 1 student that worked one-on-one reading with the paraprofessional will do his or her AR testing also with the paraprofessional. They will read it to them and then read them their choices, and the student then will pick the ones they believe are correct. Then after the AR testing, I will take it a step farther and keep them talking about it. We will then make soup together. I want everyone to take part. I think by doing this, we'll keep them engaged even farther, and they can go home and get their parents engaged by talking about it long after the fact. Here are some of the resources I used. Check them out. They're pretty great. The UDLcenter.org has a whole bunch of information on the 3 principles. Ideas for Inclusion offers you a ton of different learning strategies to use in your classroom. And then if you want more information about the PALS reading I talked about, the book First Grade PALS Assisted Literacy Strategies by Patricia Matthews is an amazing book. And then of course I have the Stone Soup book in there, which is a great book to use on any level. Thank you.